Hola, amigos, and welcome to Keyframers, the animated collaborative coding live stream, bring imaginative user interfaces to life. I'm your host, Stephen Shaw, but you may know me as @Shaw.
And I'm your host, Khourshid, also known as @SteveKPNO.
Together, we are coding compadres, animation amigos, Boolean buddies, and program companions.
Yeah, so we are going to be creating an animation from scratch live using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript today, as always, but not every day, once a week.
Yes. And this show every week is made possible by your support. You can pledge at patreon.com/keyframers. Hit like and subscribe buttons around this video wherever you're watching.
Yeah, and we're happy to answer any questions you may have about space, extraterrestrials, the infinite expanding universe, all that stuff, or animation, whatever. So reach out in the chat or the comments.
David's space conjecture has some bearing in today's animation.
Yes.
So the animation for today is NASA Planets Overview by Hong. Is that the first name?
Hong Wen. Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, a lot of nice things happening here. We got this lovely text animation happening for the title. We also have this rounded text that slides into place, images that slide in and out. Let's see, like stats up in the top that change. Cool.
Yeah. Lots of little things going on. We'll see how much we could get finished today.
Yeah. I think focusing, well, it's here. All right. Oh, good. You've already done a little bit of setup for us. That's great.
Yes. I tried to the best of my abilities to spell the planets, so they're close enough.
Sure. Welcome to Earth. Those are my favorites.
Mm-hmm. Earth and Mars.
Yep. Planet Stern. Yeah, signals that one. Awesome. Okay, so let's see. I've got some.
Do you now?
Yeah.
Great.
Uploaded. If you want to working on.
Yeah. So let's get gritty with this. This is going to be a little bit different than a lot of our other episodes where we're not constrained to a phone, but this you could sort of imagine as an actual desktop app. It seems like a lot of Dribble animations or designs are either designed for a 72-inch flat screen TV or the newest iPhone. It's one of the two. It's never.
Yeah, there's no in between there.
Yeah,
and screen sizes are not fluid at all. So
yeah, no. And so let's see over here. We're going to do a. So what I'm thinking of doing is there's going to be the planets, and the planets are going to, use that layering technique and just be on top of each other. But there's also going to be a separate section for the rotating planets. And so where we're going to have those two in distinctions. So display grid, but this is going to be fun to think about how to do this in grid. I'm like,
yeah. Well, so there's the top row that contains kind of the title and the stats.
Right.
And
guys, I could maybe draw this out. So always helpful to draw stuff. So, all right. So let's say we have our big app here. I don't know if you have the screen.
Yeah, up. I've got that pulled up. So there.
All right. So I'm thinking like we have a grid road there. And this is for, like, let's say, Mars, right? And then we have another one here. Oops. There are my lines. And then so 3.2, whatever other information. And then one here as well. So this is just like sort of a, dead zone. Nothing lives there. But also, as far as rows, we have basically this. And so the, actually, wait, I might have forgotten one. See, this is why it's good to like just sort of draw it out. So there's going to be another one right here because we're going to have our images right over here if we want to do these or not. I don't know. So that's going to live in that part of the grid. And then in this part is going to live our big planet or wherever you want to position it. Actually,
yeah, that would probably just span all of them based on.
Right. And so this one could just like be like that. And then you could just do whatever here. We have a little bit of text here happening, and we have all the text, just over here. And so this is going to rotate. And I think that I mean, we also have a little header part over here. But I think that's all it is.
Yeah, that looks.
I mean, it's a lot, but
yeah, that's not too bad. I think you
okay.
Get that set up quick. Thanks real quick for Dan for subscribing with Twitch Prime. It's super helpful. So yeah, let's see. Those columns start in the images here.
Sorry, the CSS is broken. I am typing stuff. All right, columns go left to right. Wait. I always, what? Sometimes I get confused between columns and rows. I'm very embarrassed to admit it, but.
So columns are horizontal, going across.
Right,
rows are stacked on top of each other.
Having some brain farts today.
I always think, like ancient Greco-Roman columns, like they're holding up the roof.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna.
That's super. Dropping all these images in.
In grid template rows, we're just gonna have whatever, like 10%, and then one of our. Of course, this is going to be 100% with 100%. Yeah, I think that's correct. Okay, so yeah, time to start. I do want to do one thing that I've been doing more and more, and that's actually using the grid area type of thing. Or the named grid template areas, because after you get used to it, just like practicing it once or twice, it actually becomes pretty simple to do. And it's just a matter of remembering where the quotes go for everything. Example, so grid template areas, we're going to have X, we're going to have title, info. It is a little bit weird though. It takes a little bit getting used to.
Yeah.
Planets.
Areas. I've gotten those done right.
Well, today's our lucky day.
Sure.
I think this is correct. I don't know if this is right. Like if we could do header like this, or if we have to repeat it 5 times. I forget. Like I think maybe this worked. We'll find out. Actually, let's find out right now. So let's say for the planet Mercury, let's put this in a header over here, and this is Mercury E. Okay. And so for our planet, oops, header. Let's find out. So let's see, the planet header. I mean, it's a direct descendant. So border 2 pixels, solid white. Let's see what happens. Oh, nope, it didn't go all the way.
Well, you haven't specified.
Oh, grid area.
Right.
Grid area. Oh, I don't need the quotes. Header. Did something break? Outline 2 pixels, solid white.
It's the text is all the way at the bottom.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly what we wanted.
Is it?
No, it's not. It really isn't. So yeah, it should just be like grid area and then whatever it is. So grid area header, which should be all of this over here. So I might be doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's I'm gonna just make sure that we have all this over here. I almost just want to straight up open this in Firefox and check it out, just because Firefox has so much better tooling for this kind of thing.
Does naming grid line. Connection stable. Sorry for.
Yeah, I feel like this is correct. Grid template areas. We have our areas. It should be two. Yeah.
Well, I don't know that you can just do grid area. It should repeat.
All right, well, if we make this planet, let's see where it goes. Oh, you know what? Getting rid of the quotes. Haha. Sort of.
Yeah,
that didn't go where I thought it was going to go. Header, back to header. Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we have 3 rows. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, let's just make sure that our CSS is correct. So, oh, wait. Okay, so I have invalid property value. So let's figure out why we have this invalid property value and what I did wrong. Like, did I piss off? Maybe this has to be, something like longer. Nope, it's not that. It's so weird. All right. Totally thought that would work.
Yeah. Looking at Learn CSS Grid, it looks like you're right.
Yeah, it looks like it should be correct. In fact, if I I'm just going to copy and paste an example from Learn CSS Grid and make sure that it's right over here. Hello. So now let's just make sure.
In the chat link, I think the X on the right of the second row shouldn't be named X. It's just kind of a filler name that should be.
Oh no! Oh yeah, you're absolutely right, because it's impossible for. Oh, okay, wow, that was all right. Whoever, all right, Hasselbank fan, thank you so much. Yeah, It's sort of like saying, yes, I would like an airplane ticket for both the aisle and the window, but not the middle seat. That makes absolutely no sense. So, yeah. Wow. Okay.
All right, so that works. That.
That's so silly, but also cool.
Yeah.
Wait. Oh, let me try my theory now. Nope.
Yeah, you still have to have explicit number of grids.
So it's a convenience, but just not
Barely.
a full convenience.
Yeah.
It's you still have to sort of repeat yourself. Yeah. Okay, well, that's background. Okay, cool. I'm gonna give that. Wow, my OK Google went off because saying OK cool sounds like OK Google.
Sure.
Apparently. Right. So this image is going to be just grid area, planet, not grid row.
Well, we want it to span all of them. It would be grid.
You can do that? Are you sure you could do that? You could do that. Wow.
Yep, grid. The grid areas, you can use those as keywords within grid row and grid column, so that allows you to do some easy counts. Probably
really?
be wrapped something. Here. Is that figures? But it's good.
I'll call it planet figure because that's literally what it is.
All right. This will do.
Nice. So we have that. Yeah, it's amazing how much easier grid makes this sort of thing. So now we could add just like some extra information here. And maybe some text over here. Beautiful. Okay, what else? We have the info. I'm going to call this details because that's more what it's like. So we have planets details. And as far as our organization, I know we're nesting a lot of things, but this is what happens when you start a project and have to finish it in less than 2 hours. We could always go back and clean that up, but for now, we don't really care. So. Okay. Top planets details. Let's see. We're going to do this. Okay. Yeah. So let's see.
Oh.
Still working with layout and stuff.
Yeah, just doing some.
Gotcha. No problem. So. Oh, Details is going to go in the grid area. What do we call it? Details, right? Yes, details. Cool. Yes. Display flex, direction row. Justify content flex dark. Cool. So we could just copy and paste this stuff. And I'm giving these all IDs too because I want them to be able to be targeted by JavaScript. So IDs are easiest for that. I know a lot of people say avoid IDs, but
well, since we're going to have multiple planets, our ID is going to work.
Yes, because I'm going to call it. Hold on. Oh wait, the first planet isn't Mars, is it? It's Mercury.
Yeah.
I knew that. I totally knew that. Okay, yeah. So I'm going to prefix the ID with the planet. So I'm going to call this Mercury detail, whatever. Yeah, that'll be fine.
Could we just use data attributes for that? And then that'll make it easy to select for doing that.
We could, and we will.
Data detail equal.
Okay. Gotcha. So whatever I said about avoiding data planet equals Mercury. Yeah, so we could just target it via that. All right, yeah, that'll be fine. So, and I just want to make this perfect. Data attributes are used exactly for that. And so I'm, adding an extra data attributes to, just append things to whatever we have over there. So
right, basically the unit or whatever you would want to go at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. That'll be fine. So we have 3 and then 10, and then that works. All right, cool. We are. Yeah, there we go. And then, good enough. And of course, the font size on that should be absolutely huge. So actually, we can move this out over here. Detail font size like 1 million, right? Like 3 rems or something like that. It's supposed to be huge. Wow. Font weight normal. Okay. Well, it obviously has no idea what normal means. So
I mean,
yeah, well, let's get rid of this 500 then. Well.
Font family has in it. Stuck.
Maybe 400 will work. There we go. 400 works.
Okay.
Good enough for me. All right, cool. That's looking good. And so we could always tweak those later. But yeah, the purpose of that, we want to be able to target it with JavaScript. So that's why we're structuring it that way. With data details and data planet and all that.
Just me, or is the post down to the?
It is, and that is on purpose. It's a stylistic choice, and you should not judge my creative decision making. I'll fix it.
Definite judgment.
White space, no wrap. And then, yeah, there we go.
Alternatively, you could that because they're.
Hey, that actually works. Yeah, we'll keep it at that.
Yeah, I think even though they're text, that's still detail. We got that. All right, and so
Cool.
this.
So we have most of the parts up and
Yeah,
running.
and this syntax is going to work for all of it, right? Or for
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So.
And I'll even start writing some JavaScript to target each one. So
Okay. Well, I'm going to replace all the other planets with
that. Oh wait, let's before we do. Actually, no. We could save the photos for later. Yeah. So you could copy and paste now. I think that's a good structure that we have.
Yeah. The photos are pretty easy to change out. Change out all the details.
Actually, can I add one more thing?
Fine.
Wait. Just kidding. Don't worry about it.
What is that?
Copy and paste. Copy and paste away.
This is not hours. No, I think.
Yeah.
All right. So why don't you start talking about JavaScript?
So JavaScript is a language that can be executed in the browser.
Little higher level.
Okay, it has the exact same syntax as Java without all the types. So, yeah, very useful language. All right, but yeah, so let's talk about how we animate the numbers at the top, because I believe there was only one previous episode where we did something like that, where we're not necessarily animating style values, but we're animating, well, value values or values outside of the visual appearance, such as numbers. And so I think that was the. Do you remember the car gauge?
Yeah,
we did a long while back.
Yeah, I'll get the link for that one.
Yeah, sure. So let's see. First thing we should probably do, thinking, is make a function, and the function is going to be targeting the gets detail of the planet and the detail type. So I'm just going to put type. And so we want to first get the, or actually let's const planets equal document.query selector all. And it's going to be, do we have a data planet? Yes, we do have a data planet. Yes. All right, data planet. Then we could just do array from, just because JavaScript's weird about that. All right, so this is going to get all of our planets. And actually, I'm going to do something else here. This is going to be really fun. We're going to be using reduce because we have an array, so we could do that. And reduce, we're going to take two arguments. We're going to take the accumulated value, which is going to be an object, and we're going to take each element, which is the planet element. And so basically what we're going to do is we're going to get the planet attribute of each one. So const planet equals l.get attribute, data planet, or sorry, data set. We could just use data set. Data set dot planet. And then we could say the planet is, well, the planet or the elements. And then we just return that. And let's console.log that and see what that shows. Log skip.
So basically, you're looping through all of them.
Yes.
And just creating a object of the planets.
Yeah. So we have an object with the property, let's say, like Earth something, Mercury would be something. Yes. And so that something is the elements. So L.
Right.
Then L, etc. So
yeah, it looks like that's working in the actual.
Of course it is. Except not the CodePen console, because that's way too big.
Right.
For it to show. And so if we want to get the detail of a planet and the types, we just have to reference return planets planet dot query selector, because that's an element, and we are going to search for the data detail. Right, so we have a data detail. Oh, wait, const L detail equals L plans data detail equals, and then we give it the detail type, which could be something like tilt, gravity, and hours. I believe I called them. So I'll just make a note there. Tilts, gravity, hours. And so assuming that we found it, we're not going to do any error checking just because this is an example. We're just going to, or actually, we'll return the whole element. So get detail element, just because that's useful. Return L detail. And that should work. So now we have to think about.
Before we get too deep into that, you wanna handle like some just quick state transition setting and active.
Yeah. I totally forgot about that. So all we have to do here is whatever planet we're on. So we could say data current. We're going to call this current planet. Keep it semantic. Current planet equals Mercury. We're going to add a data active attribute to. Whoa! What happened here? All right, not going to question it.
I'm just overlapping everything.
Okay, and you're going to do the data active thing, because I'm only going to add that data active to the planets, the planet class element.
Right.
Awesome. So now we could handle function selects planets. We say we're going to do two things. First, we're going to find the active one, document query selector data active dot remove, or we're going to delete const active equals document dot query selector. So from this element, we're going to delete L active dot data set dot active, because we don't want that anymore. And then we're going to find the planet that's active. And this is actually going to be really easy because we already have that map. We just say L planets, find the planet, data set dot active equals true, which I think will literally be the literal true in the but it doesn't matter. It's truthy. Just don't do this because this is also truthy. Just delete it instead. HTML is a weird language, but this should work, and this doesn't return anything. We don't need it to return anything. This is old school JavaScript, none of your functional pure whatever. Yay for toy examples, but this works for just what we needed to do. So I'm guessing what we could do is const planet keys equal object.keys L planets. Oh yeah, so we want to keep the current planet in scope. So we're going to say, or let's current planet equal Mercury. Or should we say current planet index? Yeah. Let's do index because we're going to loop around. Yeah, that's fine. Mm-hmm. And so let's just say document.body.click just for now.
So one thing you have L planet's planet that you're selecting.
Yes.
So if we're doing the index there, that doesn't necessarily.
Oh no. So the index is just for getting the planet name, because I have a list of planets here. So this isn't going to be 0, 1, 2. There's a planet index, and there's a method to my madness.
Okay.
All right. So over here we could say current planet index equals or current planet index plus 1 modulo planet keys dot length. We could hard code this to the number of planets because we don't anticipate the number of planets changing. However, that did change in recent years from 9 to 8, so we might want to not hard code that. I believe this works. Yeah, there we go. So current planet index, and then we select planet planet keys of current planet index. Planet index sounds like an awesome place. Like, I don't know. All right. So if you click, you're going to see that it works, and we still have Jupiter misspelled.
Yeah, no, that's it got its name changed.
Yeah, I'm almost surprised that worked on the first try, but it worked. So we're good.
Very nice.
Cool.
Like that.
Okay. And so now all we have to do is add some sweet animations.
That's all we have to do.
Yeah, that's the hardest part. That's like the draw the rest of the owl type of, thing.
Right. Well, first thing we can do is just our typical fade in and visibility toggle.
Yeah.
So I'll do that really quick. Transition, opacity. Well, you set up some variables for the duration for us.
Oh yeah. Forgot about that.
Here's visibility. We will a delay of.
All right, so I have duration, double dash duration, double dash ease.
Great.
So use those as you wish.
Delay 0. All right, so this should work, giving us a nice fade,
Nice.
while also toggling the visibility. And we do visibility toggles there to prevent like other elements from creeping through. Current one. The opacity just gives us that information. And because we're toggling visibility and not display, that allows us to use transition to actually trigger animations. So yeah, let's see. So one thing we can do that's is a title animation. Let's see. Splitting doesn't come. Let's search. That. So I'm just going to include splitting.js library that I put together that helps with text animations. What splitting does is divides text and other elements into spans. Character gets its own wrapper, and then there are CSS variables that is so that you can animations. So splitting target to planet title, say by prevent us having to edit the HTML. You can do that more. We inspect the Mercury title. You can see this span class equals word in there, and an individual span for each character with our index. Used splitting in a while. Have we used it at all this season?
No, not at all.
Okay. So what we'll do here is another title. Word overflow hidden. That's going to do is cut off the text so that we can char by sent with active char form. Yeah, so title's back in place there. Let's see how that goes. Opacity will do through. Yeah, you can see those characters are just dropping out, but we want it a bit fancy. Let's do a calc function. Allows us to actually do basic math CSS with CSS variables and things. Calc R it's going to be yeah, you can see that stagger. Oh, let's see. Right now we're getting there we go. And now we're targeting the actual heading. Yeah. Back at the
Yeah, it looks good.
But yeah. It. Oh, helps if you a unit. Oh. Right. Not bad. Not bad. All right. So David's been plugging away at the
That's stuff. I'm trying to make this as understandable as possible, which it will be.
Yeah.
I promise.
Sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Space. Grid.
Not good.
Plus.
Gosh, I hope this works. Did I say that out loud? I did.
Well, while you're working on that, you want me to try and explain circular text bit? Or are you almost there?
The circular text bit. Did that work? Yes, please explain the circular text bit.
Okay. So gonna break off a separate pin here. Did a little bit of setup here. So one cool feature of SVG is you can have text paths, which means the text just follows along a path. So here you can see this kind of faded gray. Let me make that in orange. So this is my path. Broke. See that? So this is the path that my text is going across. I've got a circle in there just so you can. Circle is, but that can be taken out, and that, and then it's not way. So within the SVG, I have each of the planets here, and then I did a little bit of JavaScript here that helps distribute these evenly across this path. If I take all this out, the distribution is not exactly even across that path. So I have a little bit of a magic number here with 560, but basically what's happening is I'm looping through each of these spans. Games off today. I'm looping through each of these spans, and I'm using a simple percent value, which will be 0, 0.16, 0.2, going all the way up to 1, and then I'm setting the attribute on each of those to be the that percent value times basically this path length. I probably need to be calculating that from the actual SVG path, but I'm not sure that value is accurate, so I've just got a bit of a magic number at the moment. And what I also set up is rotating that SVG based on which one is selected. So down here in tspan, add event listener click. Whenever you click one, it will rotate to that, so that you get that selected value. And some of these numbers are off, but they can be adjusted. But basically that whenever you click, it's setting the select CSS variable, and then that's updated in here. The transform based on that. So the select divided by the length, so another kind of percent variable, and then is going over the size of the range based on that percent, and then it adds in half of the range so that you get that centering of the value. Yeah, and sorry about the stream connection. But I'm gonna start moving these pieces over into the actual animation to function as a navigation. But I wanted to show how that piece is actually working. Get back. So JavaScript.
You said JavaScript. What are you doing to my JavaScript?
Just
okay, great. Oh boy, did we break something? Oh, planets.
I probably.
No. It was me. It was me.
So
got the blame for it.
It's over. So this is actually going to be. I'll do this outside of the actual. SVG. Ideally, each of these T-spans would also have like an A that properly.
Yes.
It's up here.
If you want a preview of what I'm doing, by the way, check out the console. We got our data. It's a beautiful thing. HTML is a data format. That's something that we typically forget. It's not a layout format. It definitely is not. It could be used for layout, but HTML derives from XML, which XML is definitely first and foremost a data format. HTML is a data format too that describes documents. It just so happens that its data describes a lot of the layout of documents as well as its contents, of course. But living in JavaScript land for so long, we sometimes tend to forget that. So we're using HTML here as data, and we're going to see some awesome things that we could do with it.
So I'm not actually seeing anything in the console.
Really?
Oh, is it like on load something?
Maybe it should be like
not,
just this information about Mercury. Mercury is pretty cool. Yeah, it is.
Oh, you commented out animate? Okay.
Oh, wait, not that, but I mean, just it should show just some information about. Never mind. We'll wait till later.
Yes. All right. Well, I've got the nav in there. Let me get that. Equals. Let's do CSS down here. Uranus is in there. Don't worry. It's just gonna expand series. Fifth. Fuck. Click. So what will you have a let's see, let's add a function.
Not there. Okay, fine.
Select index.
Yeah, we could refactor that all later. So what are you? No, well, you.
Yeah, this JavaScript could probably be cleaned up. expand. Select. Do we have lapp selected yet?
LApp? No, we don't have an LApp.
Okay.
That was a gross forgetting. Negligence. Gross negligence on my part.
All right, I got it now. Yes, we are working on the same pin. Let's see. App.dial.separate. Nice. All right, so the clickable nav is working. So this is pair programming. Be same thing again in a moment. David's got some.
Yeah. And we're doing both of these in parallel just because it would take a very long time for us to explain both things as we're typing them out. So I would rather just code it and then explain it later.
Yes. We're doing it all live.
Yes.
Let's see.
Like Saturday night.
What I'm doing now is just setting CSS variable. Here we go. Later.
Yes.
You got it?
Oh yeah. I've had it, man. I've had it for a long time.
Okay, there we go. Out bottom. A quick that. Now, yeah, got our circular nav working. It's not actually animated, but it needs a little bit of adjustment. I will play with that a bit. Hurt self.
I do. Let me just make sure it works because we want it to. Well, okay, so I could talk about the general concept. Let me just make sure that clicking your cool rotating thing works. Okay, cool. So check this out. Go open the console and click around the planets, and you'll see the values change over 1 second. You see that?
Yes.
All right. So to quickly explain what's going on, let's jump into the JavaScript real quick. I'm looking at the animate function.
Okay.
This is a very simple function. It takes a little bit of explaining, but this is essentially what it's doing. We're building GSAP in like 15 lines rather than 150 kilobytes. I didn't say that. Anyway, so we have animate over here. You give it the duration and a function. This is going to be your callback function that gives you a number between 0 and 1 over this duration. And so to do that, all we need to do is use request animation frame and a little bit of math. We start with we get the current time. We figure out roughly how many ticks we need to get to, so we could do math.ceil over here just to make sure that we don't go under and have it be infinitely counting. And so, for example, like over 1 second, this might be, doing quick math here, like 62 ticks or 63 ticks. And then we keep track of the progress. Remember, this is going to be between 0 and 1 plus or minus, depending on our EC. Okay, so now we have this tick function, which is just going to keep calling itself using request animation frame, which, remember, this runs every like 16.6667 milliseconds because it runs on the refresh rate of 60 frames per second. So that's why that is. So what we do is we get the start time, which let's say it started at like 100 milliseconds, and we get the now time, which is 130 milliseconds. And so 130 minus 100 would be 30. And so the progress would be that elapsed time, which is 30 milliseconds divided by the duration, which let's say it's 1,000. And then that's the number we want. So that's going to be a number between 0 and 1 that says just how far along our duration are we between 0 and 1. And we just call the function with that progress. So let's do an example over here. If I have animate here and I console.log the value and you open the console, see that it goes between 0 and 1 over 1 second. So I can make this longer. It could go between 0 and 1 over 3 seconds, which this is going to take a while. But yeah, so it does that, or even shorter. Now, using, again, a little bit of math, we could play around with this value. So I have this animate.from2, which you pass it an object giving from number, the pluses here, a to number, and a duration which defaults to 100. So this is a bit nicer abstracted version of this one. We calculate the delta, and then we're going to be using the same animate function, which gives us a number between 0 and 1. We could use that number, multiply it against the progress, that delta, and add it to the start value, which is that from. So if we're going to be between 100 and 200, and our progress is at 0.5, then it would be 100, which is that from value, plus half of the delta, which is 100. So 100 plus 50 is 150, which is exactly the value that we want. Yeah, it's a lot to explain, but this is almost all you need to do like any sort of like animation, because animation is just interpolation over time. And so that's exactly what we're doing here. We're using request animation frame, and this is sort of the same type of technique used by people animating in 3.js or something like that, without having to pull in a big library. Where big libraries are useful for the more complex stuff, but yeah. So I'm using that in this select planet. And so instead of, so I'm getting from to, for example, the planet hours. And so that gives me the hours between planets. So let me, or actually, if you go ahead and click between planets, you'll see that they go between the hours. And the hours aren't correct. I'm just, incrementing them by 10. See that? And so they're doing exactly the behavior we want. So instead of this console log v, let's actually make this edit the HTML of the, so let's get the hours. So let's see, const L hour detail equals document dot, oops. No, the planets, L planets dot query selector, oops. data, what's it called? Data detail equals hour. Is that what I called it?
Yes. Or maybe hours.
Hours. Just kidding. It's hours. So L hours detail, data detail hours. So over here we could set L hours detail dot inner HTML is that value. Let's see what happens. Oh geez.
Yeah. Just a moment. Just.
It works.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah.
Except we had the weird fadey thing, and we could fix the number of decimal places. We have two. We could just say math dot round or something. So math dot round value. Yeah. So all we have to do is get rid of that fadey thing. Are you fading the entire planet or each individual element?
There we go. So the entire planet is fading at the moment. What we probably want to do is fade individual. I'll take that off.
Uranus gives me nan, and that's because I have an HTML error, not a. And we'll apply easing later. Wait, why is Neptune also giving me an error? Detail hours. I think there's something wrong with Uranus.
Looks okay.
Yeah, I'll figure that out later. But yeah, now it's all just a copy pasta. So now instead of L hours detail, this is going to be L tilt detail.
And you could probably make that into a function.
Yeah, we could. I just like to copy paste it for now, just to make sure we have everything. Where actually we could make it into a function, but I'm way too lazy right now. So I'm just going to do like this gravity just to make sure we have it right. So gravity, and then this should be L tilt detail. This should be L gravity detail. Okay, proof of concept. I mean, they're all the same value. Also, on the detail, we should probably fix the width of them. Otherwise, they're going to be all, yeah, all funny looking. So we could say width is, let's say 10 rem.
What?
There's probably some, astronomers watching being like, those numbers are completely wrong. Like, what are they doing? And you would be correct. We are so sorry.
Select. What I'm doing is making sure the details pop. So our math.round got the better of us on gravity.
He gets the best of me a lot of times.
Oh.
Do you skateboard?
I used to.
Yeah.
Got old.
Oh yeah, me too.
I do wish there were a modern day Tony Hawk.
There is. His name is Tony Hawk.
Well, no, the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
No, not the actual guy.
He's cool though. I started following him on Twitter. Back to.
Oh yeah, he's great on Twitter. It's like he has a existential crisis. It's pretty fantastic. Because people keep forgetting, or they're like, you look just like Tony Hawk, and he's like, really? I am Tony Hawk, and they're like, why?
That's convenient.
I'm gonna answer that.
So I'm gonna do a fade on figure.
I'm just putting random numbers here. There we go. Aha, look at that. I mean, the numbers are still moving around like crazy, so I had to try to figure out why exactly that is. Let's see, we have okay, well now we just have to just
Figure.
Make that like 15 frames. Did you break the HTML?
I did not.
Oh, or sorry, the CSS.
Probably.
Because my details aren't getting any bigger, or they're not.
Yeah, that's strange. That might be the column.
Oh, right. Yeah, for the detail, they're being squished due to Flexbox. Never mind. You're fine.
Like shrink.
Yeah, exactly. Forgot about that. Go ahead and you could add that.
Oh. Oh, probably because you were bumping up.
Oh, was it my fault?
No, you just kept upping the width, but they aren't actually that wide. Let's see. Probably want those sized in. It. Right.
You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and add easing too. This is way too much fun.
Whoa. So, yikes.
What happened?
Was getting some crazy numbers once I got to Neptune.
That's astronomy for you. It's outer space.
Oh, did you put actual numbers in there?
Oh. Yeah. I put some. All right. So what exactly is wrong?
The numbers are just huge. Neptune and
I mean, I'm not an astronomer, so you could take it up with whoever's in charge of those decisions.
adjusting. Right, so what are you breaking? Adding in.
Yeah. So this is, you know how I like using sine curves and stuff for easing, especially with the easing function, 0.50, 0.51.
Sure.
This is my favorite approximation of this. I don't know why I'm doing 1 minus math. Well, no, because math cosine goes from the middle, it sort of slopes down. I'll explain on the whiteboard in a little bit, but I just want to make sure that it works, because we could say easing, we could just apply it to this whole thing. And then hopefully, if nothing breaks, everything broke. Hold on. So we could say progress function from, and then we could just say using progress times delta. Okay. Did I break something?
No. It might.
No, JavaScript's good.
Okay.
But
Sorry, the nav went away.
There it is.
Yeah.
Easing is not a function. It totally is a function. Constant easing. Like I literally made it a function. Constant easing equals. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Okay. So I made something a function, but saying it's not a function. That's so weird.
Overwriting.
You know what? All right. Function easing progress. We're going to do this the old school way, I guess. Return that. Okay. Easing is not a function. What the heck?
Is what you're passing in not coming through?
Oh. Maybe not. Maybe my cannot access easing before.
Well, so I think what the issue is you're setting the defaults for all of those values, but the object itself is getting overwritten. So what you need is like that syntax, right?
Gotcha. Yeah. So let's make defaults here. So const animation defaults equals, we have a duration of 1,000 good call, and we have easing over there. So and then so we could actually take this out and oh no, just kidding. Well, all right. So we don't actually need this, but we could say easing equals easing or animation defaults dot easing, and duration equals duration or animation defaults dot duration. This is wordy, but it'll work.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be nice and signy, but
well, because of the rounding, that might be interfering. The rounding of the values.
Yeah.
Why don't we get that to a good spot and then wrap this one.
Yeah. So I think it's good. If you stretch your screen big, I guess we get a little bit of overlapping.
With those, yeah, because we've got a fixed width on them, but some of the numbers are actually bump that up a bit. I'll scale with the viewport a little bit. Okay. Cool. Shall we select?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. There's some additional refinements that can this, but they're all the basic elements that we wanted to touch on today. So let's keyflect. Here we go. we're now moving into Keyflections, which is a quick review of techniques we use to build this animation. If you have any questions, ask in the chat or leave a comment, and answer.
Yeah. Hey, if you enjoyed watching this so far, by the way, you could follow and subscribe here on Twitch or YouTube, or pledge at patreon.com/keyframers so we could buy an astronomy textbook. Links are available below.
Much. All right, so today's animation, NASA Planets Overview by Huang Win, I believe. Just a really great animation with some nice elements to it. We chose today to mostly focus on text animation here, along with these animated stats and this kind of rounded navigation. That's happening. So whiteboarded out the grid that we needed. So we have our title up here in the first row, or 2 rows, and basically 3 columns, some spacer columns in there as well. And here's where we ended up. Talk about the HTML just a little bit. Walk us through the transitions of them, or how we're changing the elements, and then animating those numbers. Last. All right, so our HTML setup, we've got navigation with an SVG that I'll go into. That's giving us this rounded navigation. Needs a little help with the after, and then for each of our planets, we have a div class equals planet with the data value of what that planet is, and a data active attribute one. The planet title, this area, the data details are right here. It's adding some.
Just a little bit. Sorry.
No, that's great. I like it. That helps a ton. Each of these details has a data detail that we use to select later on for the animation. And then figure is just. All right, so how's this basic JavaScript?
Oh, right. Which part? Because we have a bit of JavaScript here.
Right. So
the first thing I want to explain, I guess, is this cool little reducer pattern that we're using. And so best way to explain this is that if we get an array of all the planets here, we're going to have an array of elements, and we could reduce those, which means basically just take them all and reduce them to a single type of thing. In this case, we're reducing an array to an object. And in order to do that, you give it 2 arguments, the accumulated value and the each of the values of the array. And so we just say, in our reduced object, we want the key, which is the planet name, to be the element. And so now we have an array of elements, or sorry, an object of elements where the keys are the planet name and the values are the planet elements. So we're using those in a bunch of places. Let's see, we're getting the details from the planet, and we're using that exact same reduce pattern. So for each planet, like if we look for Earth or Mars or something, we look for all of those data detail elements, and we reduce it to an object containing the tilts, gravity, and hours. So it'll look something like tilts 0.1, gravity, whatever, and hours like 10. And so that's the results of that. Oh, and we get the planet name too, which is cool. So like planet Earth. And so this is going to be really useful because now we have a data-driven animation, which is useful over here. We have a whole bunch of imperative code going on. I'm very sorry about that. But we want to show you how to do things without frameworks. So
showing what's happening behind the framework instances.
Right. So we have this magic function here called animates.from2. So this is 2 parts. This is this animate function and this from2 helper function for this. And so we're basically animating the previous value. So we take the previous planet the previous planet, whatever detail value it is, whether it's hours, tilt, or gravity. The current planet, same type of value. And we're going to animate over 1 second. And we could change that with the duration, just say duration like 300 or something. And we get a value between the previous value and the current value. And we set the inner HTML of that detail element to that value. So let's hop on down to animate and review what's going on. If we're animating over time, let's say 1 second, or 300 milliseconds, ideally this animate function should provide us a value between 0 and 1, telling us the progress of how we're progressing through that timeline. And so in order to do that, we have to do a tiny bit of math. We need to get the start time. We need to get the number of ticks that will fit in that duration. Like how many ticks fit in 1,000 milliseconds? That would be like 16. That would be like 60 or so. Actually, it would be exactly 60 because it's 60 frames per second. Actually, could have just done anyway. And then we keep track of the current progress. We have a tick function that runs on every request animation frame. And so this is this number right here. This is this number of milliseconds. We get how much time has elapsed, and we take that elapsed time and compare it to the duration. So we get the progress, which is, for example, if 0.5 seconds happened in a 1 second duration, progress will be 0.5. If duration is 2 seconds, progress will be 0.25, because 0.5 over 2 seconds is 0.25. And then we call the function with that progress. So using that number between 0 and 1, we could do some fancy things with it. So if we scroll down to animate.from2, we could give it 2 values, from and to. Then from there, it's just a little bit of math. We get the delta between the to and the from values. So let's say we're animating between 10 and 30. The delta is going to be 20. And then we go to our original animate function over the duration. But instead of the progress being a number between 0 and 1, we want the progress to be a number between the from value and the to value, which is from, and then the progress times the delta between those values. So if the delta is if the progress is 0.25, then, and the number is like between 10 and 30. So 10 and 30 progress is 0.25. Then the number that we want to be called back is 10 plus 20 times 0.25, which is 10 plus, what is that, 5? I know math, which is 15, which is exactly what we want, between 10 and 30. So that's math that goes on over there. And then we have an easing function, which, you could sort of tell. Easing is a little bit harder to tell with non-physical values, like non-style values. But this is just using cosine to sort of get a smoother easing. And there's a lot more easing functions available. I think the Just Animate library has it's called easings or something like that, where it has a bunch of these functions where you could just plug and play. So it's pretty nice, and I'll provide a link to that if you're interested in that. Yeah, it's called Just Curves. Here we go. Put that Just Curves in the chat.
Nice.
And yeah, it's a whole bunch of functions where it's just ton of these easing curves. We have ease and bounce, ease and circ, and if you look at each of these files, they're all like one-liners, which is fantastic. So yeah, that's an entire animation library in a gist.
Yeah. So the title animation is actually pretty straightforward. That's just using the splitting library, targeting all those planet title headings, splitting out by characters so that Those have all the characters wrapped in a span with a character index, and then this, and we have characters are being animated where, yeah, planet title. So the word is overflow hidden so that the characters kind of appear there out of the bottom. Char, translated Y off, transition, transform, and then a transition delay based on the character index, so that that gives you that nice kind of staggering. It's active. And the actual navigation down here, rounded it down here. I broke off into a separate pin here to just show the concept. We have the text along a text path, which is this rounded area. If I stroke, see the actual path there that the text is following along. And yes, it is a little off. It needs to adjust it a little bit. This was put together by hand, so it's some of the values are a little magic numbery, but basically cubic Bezier. That's what the C function. So yeah, that curve is used to spread the text along the path. And then in the JavaScript here, I have a little helper looping through all of those T-spans to distribute them across the path. And this is kind of a magic number. It should probably be based on the path length that we can calculate in JavaScript. I just haven't up. And then whenever we click on any of the T-spans, that's what's activating our functions. And whenever we select a planet by an index, we get the active CSS variable set there, and that is what triggers our rotation of the SVG. So values here feed into the transform. It's just rotating by the active value divided by the length, which gives kind of a percentage value, like we down there. It's rotating that by the range and adding in half of the range so that it starts from kind of 12 o'clock, like analog clocks. Yeah, that's pretty much all the pieces. Needs a little bit of cleanup overall, but elements there. Anything else? Anything else you want to cover?
Yes, I want to cover this unclosed Neptune elements that we forgot to close. Yeah, Neptune is not closed for whatever. I see it. Okay, I fixed the NAND thing. But yes, that is all. Looks good. Sorry about that. Pretend that didn't happen.
Got a syncing issue here. It's broken on.
Oh, wait a minute. There should be a that closing tag. Oh man. Okay, yeah. Neptune should work now. Or Uranus. Everything should work.
Okay. No, but I think we're just a little out of sync with internet issues. So don't edit anymore for the moment, David. We'll.
All right, fine. Hands off.
I just want to make sure it's saved in a good state. All right. So you've been watching Keyframers. If you've enjoyed this episode and would like to see more from David and I, there are many ways you can support us. Subscribe and participate in these live streams every week. You have Amazon Prime. You actually have a Twitch Prime subscription that you can stream a month, no cost to you. So just head on over to /keyframers and click that subscribe button. Prime details that you can select there. You can also like and subscribe at youtube.com/keyframers, where we have this video available afterward, and have all of our episodes there as well. And pledge at patreon.com. Helps us out.
Yeah, send in those submissions for future episodes. Tweet us or message us or whatever. We love challenges, and we want to see what you think of next so that we could try to do it. Yeah, also share this video and demo and everything across your social platforms, or we will, and nobody wants to see that, but we want everyone to see that. So,
yes. Well, thank you all so much for joining us and for watching. Thank you, David. Work today. Till next time.
Adios.